Okay, learning how to subtract positive and negative numbers, which we combine lesson 2.2 and 2.3 together, okay? I want everybody to write these 3 statements down. Star them, box them in, do whatever you have to do in order to memorize these. You definitely want to memorize each of these statements because they will make your life so much easier when adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers. So the first statement we have is same signs, add and keep. Then different signs, subtract and take. Last thing, every number has a sign. Every single number has a sign. And that sign is directly in front of that number, okay? Now, in Algebra 1 and in geometry, for the most part, we are only dealing with positive and negative numbers. Now, once you get into Algebra 2 and trig, you're going to have different, like, imaginary numbers and things like that. But as far as now goes, there are only 2 types of numbers. There are positives and there are negatives, okay? Every single number falls into one of those categories. It's either a positive or a negative. So every number has a sign. And that sign can be found directly in front of the number, okay? If I told you the number 5, well, you say, but there's no sign in front of it. Anytime there's no sign written in front, what is it understood as? A positive. So I don't have to write a plus in front of it, but I know it's a positive number. So every number has a sign, and that sign is directly in front of the number. So when I have more than one number and they want me to combine them, I combine by either addition or subtraction. Nothing else in this part, okay? So I have the same signs. So let's say I had 5 plus 7. First of all, the first thing I want you to do is get used to looking for the signs. Look at every number and find its sign. So let's see here. Haley, what is 5's sign? Positive. Even though it's not written, I know its sign is positive. Okay? Trevor, what is 7's sign? Positive. It's right here. You may say, no, Miss Reber, sorry, you're wrong. That's an addition sign. No, guess what? They are the same thing. Every number has a sign. That sign is directly in front of the number. So I have a positive 5 and a positive 7, which means these numbers have the same sign. So what am I going to do to them? Add the numbers together. 5 plus 7 is 12. And keep that sign that they both have the same. Why would I change it if it's both the same? So it's a positive. Now, do I need to write plus 12 there? No, you can just leave off the plus and write 12. Okay? Same thing goes when I have a problem like this. Okay? First thing, get in the habit, look for signs. Michaela, what is 5's sign? Negative. What is 7's sign, Chloe? Negative. You guys say, nope, sorry, Miss Reber, you're wrong again. That's a minus sign. It's negative 5 minus 7. Guess what? Same exact thing. Every number has a sign. Where is the sign? In front of the number. So, do these numbers have same signs or different signs? Same. So, I'm just going to add the numbers together and keep the sign that they both have. What's the sign that they both have? Negative. So, my answer would be negative 12. Okay, now what happens when we have different signs? Okay, if I have a problem that looks like this. Okay, let's get in the habit. Look for signs. Jerome, what's 5's sign? Negative. What's 7's sign, Jennifer? Positive. So, I look and I realize, okay, these signs are different. They're not the same. So this is what you do. Subtract the 2 numbers and take the sign of the biggest number. So 5 minus 7 is 2. So what you always do, even though you always just do the biggest number minus the smallest number. Always order it that way. So 7 minus 5 is 2. Take the sign of the biggest number. Which number is bigger, 5 or 7? 7. And what is 7? Positive. So my answer is going to be positive 2. Okay, now what if it looked like this? All right, get in the habit. Look for signs. What is 5 sign? Positive. Even though I don't see it, I know it is. What is 7 sign? Negative. So I'm going to subtract and take. Different signs, subtract and take. So 7 minus 5 is 2. Take the sign of my larger number. 7 is bigger, but what is 7? Positive or negative? Negative. So my answer should be -2. Okay, so say this with me. Same signs. Add and keep. Different signs. Subtract and take. Every number has a sign. Every number has a sign. Where is it? No, you say in front of the number, okay? Where is the sign? In front of the number. Very good. Okay, so example number 1. This is what they want me to do, okay? They want me to add and subtract positive and negative numbers. So I have to remember those statements. Same signs, add and keep. Different signs, subtract and take. So I look. Remember, you need to get in the habit of looking for the signs. You say, oh, hold on a second. There are 2 signs in front of the 3. How do I know which one goes? Okay, think about it. Every number has a sign. Where is the sign? Directly in front. What's the sign that's directly in front of the 3? Negative. So 3 is negative. What is 7? Positive. Okay, now, the reason why they have this addition sign is just telling you to combine the numbers. Now, that addition sign is not necessary. I could write this problem just like this and I would get the exact same answer, but a lot of times in your book, they do add that plus sign in there so you know to combine the numbers. So that's why I put it on our example. So when you see it in your book, you won't be thrown off, okay? So 7 is a positive, 3 is a negative. Are they same signs or different signs? Different signs. So what am I going to do? Subtract and take. 7 minus 3 is 4. And what is the sign that I'm going to have? Positive or negative? Positive. Again, you don't have to put the plus sign in front of that. Okay? Look at the next one. All right, John, what is 8 sign? Negative. What is 2 sign, Riley? Positive. So do I have same signs or different signs? Different. So what am I going to do? Subtract and take. 8 minus 2 is 6. What sign am I going to take? Negative, because 8 is the biggest number and it is negative. Okay, now this next one I have 3 numbers, okay? Just do them 2 at a time. All right, Ryan, what's negative 3 plus 5? 2, because they have different signs, so I subtract and take. 2 plus negative 6 is what, Hannah Cooper? Negative what? Not negative 8. Think about it, okay? 2 is a positive. 6 is a negative, so I have different signs, so I subtract. 6 minus 2 is 4. And I take the sign of the largest number, which is negative. Okay? Okay, so example number 2, doing more of the same thing. So I asked myself, negative 6 minus 3. Do I have the same signs or do I have different signs? Same. You may say, but that's a minus sign. That's negative 6 minus 3. Nope. Every number has a sign. The sign is directly in front. So this is going to become, what is my answer? Darnetta? Negative 9 is perfect. Okay. Next one. Do I have same signs or different signs, Hannah Tompkins? Same. So what am I going to do? Or you can just tell me my answer. Who can help her out? Darnetta? Negative 19, because they're same signs, so I add them together. 5 plus 14 is 19, and keep the sign that they both have, which is negative. Okay? Okay, now, before I call on anybody else, look at this problem. Everybody stop what you're doing and look at this problem, because this is important. If you don't get this, you're going to be lost. Okay? There should be a red flag waving in your head, a siren going off saying, there's something different about this problem than all the other problems. There are two negative signs side by side. Anytime you have two negative signs side by side, this is all you've got to do. It's just as simple as this. Change it to addition. Okay? Change it to addition. Two negative signs side by side means change it to addition. Now, two negative signs are typically always separated by a parenthesis right here. That's why I like to change it into just one big plus sign. However, if you wanted to, you could do plus plus. You could change both of them. But I like to say two negative signs, make it a positive. Okay? So now, do I have the same signs or do I have different signs? Different. I have negative 15 and positive 6. So what am I going to do? Subtract and take. 15 minus 6 is 9. Take the sign of the largest number, which is a negative. And so my answer is negative 9. Okay? Red flag should be a waving. Siren should be going off. What do I have to do, Jennifer?
Change the subtraction.
Exactly. I see two negative signs. Change it to a positive. All right, Haley, what's negative 4 plus 3?
1. Positive.
Negative 1.
Negative 1.
What's negative 1 plus 7? 6. Very good. Okay. Now the next one. I've got several different numbers, so I'm just going to do them two at a time. What's 5 minus 7? Negative 2. What's negative 2 plus 4?
2.
2. What's 2 minus 10?
Negative 8.
Negative 8. Uh-oh. Ding, 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 ding. DJ, what do I see that I need to do? Okay, so I've got to change these two negative signs to a positive. Negative 8 plus 5 is what, DJ?
Negative 3.
Very good, negative 3. Now, if you notice, all I did was I did these two at a time, okay? Now, I want everybody's full attention. Listen carefully. On your quiz and on your test, you will not be allowed to use a calculator for this test. You will not be allowed to use a calculator because I know you're going, in my head, why do I have to learn this? Because I can plug it in my calculator and it'll do it all for me. You are right. It will do it all for you. But I want to know you know how to do this. So you will not be allowed to use a calculator. So what I realize is when you go home to do homework tonight or when you're doing it in here in class, you're probably going to whip out that calculator and plug it in so that you can get your homework done like that instead of sitting here and wasting time. Something that takes you 2 minutes might now take you 20 minutes since you can't use a calculator, okay? This is what I say to that. If you want to use your calculator for homework, go for it. But homework is practice for the test and quiz. So if you're not going to be able to use it on your quiz or your test, and you get in the habit of using it for your homework, and then all of a sudden you don't have it, you can't use it anymore, that might be a lot more challenging for you, okay? So I would suggest not using it for your homework. I would suggest checking your answers with it, absolutely, because you want to make sure you didn't make any errors, but you're not going to be allowed to use it for the test or quiz, okay? So let's move on to example 3. Okay, example number 3, find the terms of the expression. So we're kind of switching gears a little bit here. We went from adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers. Now they want us to find the terms of the expression. Terms are separated. Let me write this down, and I would suggest you write it down too. Terms are separated by a plus or a minus sign. Terms are always separated by a plus or minus sign. Never multiplication. Okay? Always plus or a minus. So what I'm going to do here is they want me to say, okay, how many terms do I have in this equation? And what are they? Okay, so let's look. This is my first term here, negative 9. And my second term is negative 2x. Remember, every number has a sign, and the sign is directly in front of the number. So I can't leave off a term. I can't leave the sign off of it. Okay, so I would write, all right, I have two terms. Just as simple as that. And what are those terms? Jerome, what's my first term? Negative what? 9. Very good. That's my first one. What's my second term? Who knows it? Negative 2x, exactly. That's all they want you to do there. Okay? How many terms does this next problem have? 2. Ryan, what are they? 3x and negative 5. All right, so if I were to give you one like this, how many terms do I have in this problem?
4.
4. Okay, I've got 4 terms. Sean, what's my first one? 4x squared. What's my second one? Matthew? 3y. Trevor, what's my third one? Negative 6. And what's my last one, Madison? 10x squared y. All right, very good. Okay? All right, last example. Okay, so last example, example number 4, evaluate the function. So if you remember in the last chapter, we went over functions and what makes them a function. For every input, there's one output. So we've already established that this is, in fact, a function. I don't have to worry about trying to figure it out. For every input, is there one output? It already is a function. So what they want me to do is they want me to plug in these values for the x and solve to find y. So it's just as simple as making an x and y chart. Now, if you remember in the last chapter, we made it an input-output table. That was because we weren't sure if it was a function, so we didn't want to label it x and y. Now that I know, I can go ahead and label this x and this y and plug in my values. So that's what I'm going to do. So I've got negative 2, negative 1, 0, and 1. And what they want me to do is plug each of these in for x and solve for y. Now, you do have to show work, and this is the most common mistake people make. Are you ready? Because I'm going to tell you so you can avoid it. All right? Look at this problem. What is in front of this x in this problem? A negative. What is in front of this 2 that you're going to plug in? A negative. Now, they weren't nice and said, oh, let's save them some time, so all they've got to do is plug in a 2 instead of writing a negative. No, that's not what that is. That means if you have 2 negative signs, one right here, you have to have 2 negative signs in your problem. If you forget one, your answer will be wrong and you will get this chart wrong, okay? Make sure, however many negative signs you have placed them into your problem. So this is how I would write this. I would do y equals, I have that negative sign in front of that x, so I write that down. Then what am I plugging in for x? Negative 2. So I plug that in. Look, I've got 2 negative signs right there, just like I was supposed to. Now minus 7. What do you see that you've got to change, India? The signs. What do I make it? A positive. Very good. My 2 negative signs become 1 positive. So what is 2 minus 7? Who knows it? Negative 5, because different signs subtract and take. So 7 minus 2 is 5. Take the sign of the biggest number. And I'm just going to write that right here in my chart. Okay? Let's do the next one. Y equals, I keep my negative sign in front of the x. What am I plugging in for x? Negative 1 minus 7. What do I have to do first? Who knows? Jennifer?
Change the negative signs of 1 to addition.
Exactly. Change it to a positive. 1 minus 7 is what? Negative 6. Different signs, subtract and take. All right, let's plug in my 0. Y equals negative 0, because now look, I don't have a negative number to plug in for x. I'm just plugging in a regular number, so I should only have 1 negative sign. What's negative 0? 0. So 0 minus 7 is negative 7. Okay, and last number, y equals, I keep my negative sign. What am I plugging in for x? 1 minus 7. What would my answer be? -8. Okay, do you need to show this work right here?
Yes.
Yes, you do. Do not forget about that, okay?